7 years after Nigeria gained her independence, the country was at war with itself. Among the many tragedies of war are economic collapse and easy access to firearms. These two factors, once combined, typically result in desperate men resorting to desperate measures. Thus began the rise of armed robbery in Nigeria. The first celebrity armed robber is acknowledged as Babatunde Folorunsho, but like many criminal pioneers, he has been overshadowed by a more ruthless understudy. This is the story of Ishola Oyenusi, aka Dr. Ishola. Then Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back into its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword." Matthew 26, verse 52. Capital punishment, a justified killing of a person by the state in accordance with the laws of the state. It can be said to be the ultimate price being paid by an offender after being found guilty of a capital offense. The Robbery and Firearms Act of 1970 was introduced into law on the 8th of August by General Yakubu Gowon, the then Nigerian head of state. Section 47 subsection 2 of the Act states that any offender armed with firearms or any offensive weapon or uses any personal violence to any persons, the offender shall be liable upon conviction under this decree to sentence of death. Nigeria's first ever public executions happened on the 1st of July of 1971. Babatunde Folorunsho and 2 others were executed by the means of firing squad. Dr. Ishola would follow on the 9th of September alongside 6 others, becoming the earliest public executions to have happened in Nigeria's history. Not much is documented about his earlier days. He was born in 1945 and is said to have hailed from Oyo State. He began his criminal journey in 1965. He was 20 years old at the time. It is reported that he took to crime because he felt humiliated by a man who drove a car past him and splashed him muddy water. He swore to himself, never again. First of all, Dr. Ishola was no doctor at all, and he claimed to have earned his nickname by administering illegal drugs to patients. Following his short-lived illegal medical practice, he moved on to become an apprentice at a medical workshop in Surulere, Lagos. This is where he met Babatunde Folorunsho, who would later become his partner in crime. Oyenusi can be described as an egotistical man, a person of extreme arrogance. It is reported that in an exchange with a police officer during one of his arrests, he said, "People like you don't talk to me like that when I am armed. I gun them down." Prior to his execution, he was also noted to have said, "I am not innocent. I am going to die for what I have done. I am willing to die if that will bring peace back to the troubled city of Lagos." Even in the face of defeat, his arrogance still persisted. Oyenusi's first crime could be said to be one of passion. His lover at the time had requested for money for toiletries, and like the gentleman he thought he was, coupled with the innate need of a man who wanted to impress a woman, Oyenusi attacked the first person with a vehicle that he could find, robbing him of his vehicle as well as his life. He would later go on to sell the car for 400 naira and give the proceeds to his lover. He did all of this just to satisfy his lady's vanity. Such was his cruelty and utter disregard for life. He specialized in carjacking, highway robbery, as well as robberies of factories, stores, and the likes. But his notoriety didn't just stem from the crimes he committed. It included his violent nature, as well as his uncanny ability to escape prison at will. How he achieved this feat is unknown, but it gave him an added air of mystery. He was dreaded by members of the public and the security personnel. with some even indulging in the belief that he could appear and disappear at will. He was first arrested on the 16th of December of 1965 for a robbery attack of a provision store in Apapa, where he and his gang carted away with 1,400 pounds. Upon his arrest, he was tried and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. By 1967, at the time of his release, he came out bolder and with a vengeance to make society pay. And society did pay, as he was associated with a lot of robberies in the area at the time, and his name only but grew in popularity. In the same year of his release, he and his gang were arrested again for attacking Standard Bank of West Africa, currently known as First Bank. Sadly, in this robbery attack, they successfully parted with 14,000 pounds, but their success didn't last, and they were caught 3 months later and tried before the magistrate court in Oshodi. This trial ended with a 10-year sentence in jail time, but even jail couldn't stop him. He broke out from prison shortly after to go on an operation in faraway Maiduguri, Borno State. The staggering distance between Lagos State and Maiduguri further reinforced the myth that he could appear and disappear at will. Why else would he go to Maiduguri to attack? People wondered. Following an unsuccessful attempt to attack another paymaster in Onigbonbo area of Ikeja, after being caught by police escorts and soldiers at the military barracks in Ikeja, he and his gang bagged another 25 years imprisonment by Magistrate Victor Adedolapo Ilori. The magistrate is noted to have told Dr. Ishola, "You are no doubt a menace to society and the people. I hope you will let us rest by this sentence." Oyenusi didn't receive this sentence well. Making a scene at the courtroom, he was reported to have said, "I am not leaving the court. I am prepared to die here." But he was forcefully ejected and taken to prison. But as he has shown us time and time again, jail wouldn't be enough to stop him, and surely he made a clean break, and this time he escaped with Babatunde Folorosho, his partner in crime, who was also serving a 16-year jail term in the same prison. Oyenusi's freedom was however short-lived, and on the 24th of April, after another unsuccessful attempt to snatch a car from a military officer, he earned himself a souvenir, a bullet on his left thigh. He was arrested again and taken to court, where he told the judge that he had taken a lot of alcohol in celebration for his birthday the previous day and wasn't aware of his actions. The magistrate was said to have wished him a happy birthday and sentenced him to 10 years jail time for attempted robbery and escape from lawful custody. He and his gang were transferred to Jos Prison, where they escaped and returned back to continue wreaking havoc in the all too familiar streets of Lagos State. But finally, he ran out of luck. On March 1971, Dr. Ishola and his gang made a move on Wahom, the West African household utility manufacturing company. During the course of their robbery, a constable named Gino Nwangbarele was killed. The gang, however, made away with 10,000 pounds and successfully escaped the crime scene, but their success was cut short, and a thorough investigation was done and evidence found of Oyenusi's involvement was brought to light. He was arrested on the 7th of May in Ibadan, and his trial started on the 11th of August and ended on the 26th of the same month. Oyenusi and 6 others were all sentenced to death by firing squad, following some judicial reforms made by Yakubu Gowon in 1970, making armed robbery a capital offense punishable by death. On the 8th of September, Oyenusi and 6 others, namely Stephen Undubuoku, Philip Onuora, Osans Osamedike, Ambrose Nwokobia, Ademola Adebiton, and Oluwale Phillips, were arranged at the Victoria Island Bar Beach in Lagos to be executed by the means of firing squad. Dr. Ishola was said to be chatting with his fellow members and laughing heartily, even as they were tied to the stakes and condemned to die. With a reverend and an imam present to read out their farewell rites, they were executed by a 16-man firing squad, and it was estimated that approximately 6,000 people gathered to watch the end of a man who had terrorized them for so long, a man who was believed to be uncatchable, a man who smiled even at the time of his demise, a man who, like all men, couldn't have escaped the finalities of death. And that was how Oyenusi met his tragic end at the age of 26. The corpses were later untied and put in coffins before being driven to a cemetery in Yaba, where they were buried in shallow graves. Capital punishment and death penalty is quite a controversial topic around the world, with some groups in support of it and others against it. Share with us your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you. Our hearts go out to the victims and their families. May their souls rest in perfect peace. Thanks for watching. Remember, stay safe and stay blessed. For more contents like this, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you.